Hello guys, Fatal Flaw here. Um, yes, I'm a Lalafell, because Lalafells are cool and adorable. Um, I'm here to help a lot of people on the server, or any server, with crafting. A lot of people, I'm sure, have looked up crafting guides, on Google and whatnot, but I actually have, I have 3 different rotations. I'm going to show you one right now, and the other 2 I'll show in later videos. For now, I will show you guys how to craft 3 stars. That would be the 220 gear, or 3-star in general. We'll start with this Icon Iron Ingot. Now, first, let me show you guys what you guys will need. So for this rotation specifically, these are the cross-class skills you need. Steady Hand 2, Piece by Piece, Ingenuity 2, Careful Synthesis 2, Rapid Synthesis, Surrogate's Blessing, Tricks of the Trade, Hasty Touch, Waste Not 2, and Comfort Zone. Now, I recommend having at least all classes to 50, and if you're doing a 3-star if you just get one class to 60, you'll be fine as long as you have the cross-class skills at 50. You also want the GSM 54 skills, Maker's Mark, and Flawless Synthesis. Those are a big part of the crafting rotations. I do have one, I believe, that doesn't involve Maker's Mark, but it can be a bit risky. You'll see later when I post the video. But for now, we'll go into the Icon Iron Ingot. Now, normally I would do this with food, but I don't need to because I have control. I have enough control to craft it without food. Now, it'll work without food, but the only problem with that is that you'll need Tricks of the Trade procs to make it work. Okay, so first we'll start with Maker's Mark. You must use Maker's Mark at the beginning of the craft. If you don't and you accidentally use something else, you will not be allowed to use Maker's Mark. Alright, so you have 7. So each time you use Maker's Mark, you'll start with a set number of Flawless Synthesis, which is that icon right there. Now, with each Flawless Synthesis you use, you don't consume any durability or CP, so it's a free cast. But you must use it with Maker's Mark to get that effect. Now, after I use Maker's Mark, we use Comfort Zone. And I use, you guys can use Steady Hand 2, but I use Steady Hand 1 because it's 3 CP less, and it gets me to where I need to be to use Piece by Piece successfully at 100%. Now here is where I would use Tricks of the Trade. I need at least 1 to 2 to make it work. I believe it's 2 I need to make this work, because I'm not using any CP food. So from there, I use Piece by Piece twice. And then I continue with my Flawless Synthesis. Now, I have 10 left now. Okay, so see that? Because I normally would have had 13, but since I used Tricks of the Trade, I had 1 less. So now I have 10. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep going. Sorry about that. Dang it. Alright, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna keep going, keep using Flawless Synthesis. You have the ability to use 3 Tricks of the Trade procs during this process. But be careful though, because if you mess up 1 Flawless Synthesis and you use 3 Tricks of the Trade procs already, you will have to use an extra Careful Synthesis too. You'll see later on. See, I just messed up there. And I already used 1 Trick of the Trade. I don't want to use another, just to be safe. Now, okay, that's perfect. You see, I have 1 left. I have 1 Flawless Synthesis left. Now, if you hit progress, if your progress is 1300, or like exactly where it is right now, you're in, that's safe zone right there. That means whatever Flawless Synthesis touches you have left, you're free to use Tricks of the Trade or whatever. So, and you want to use every single one of these, because with these, you have basically a free chance to get Tricks of the Trade, if you're lucky. Now, right here, we go into comfort zone. Here's the perfect time to use tricks of the trade, because you don't have anything that's going to mess up your rotation this way. Then you go into inner quiet, waste not 2, which is a leather worker, steady hand 2. Now, you always want to use steady hand 2 after waste not 2, because if you don't, you're going to mess up your durability. I'll explain a little bit. Now, you want to follow up with 5 hasty touches in a row. Normally it's in a row. Say if I were to get a Tricks of the Trade proc, it all depends. You use your judgment. Ah, there you go. Tricks of the Trade. Now, in order to do this successfully, I will not be using Tricks of the Trade. To be honest, I will never use Tricks of the Trade here. I might sacrifice this Tricks of the Trade proc and use Precise Touch. But that's only if I know I have enough CP. That my rotation will be complete with enough high quality that will get me what I need. But here I will not use this proc. I will just continue to use my hasty touch, because I didn't use any CP food, so I will not have enough CP. Now, you see you have 2 waste not 2s left. You're going to use them to build your progress. I'm at 1349 now, and I use 2 careful synthesis 2s, and I should be at 1593. Now, if I was at less than that, if my progress was less when I was done using the flawless synthesis, and my progress would be less than 1300, I would have to use another careful synthesis 2. Alright, now, since we have 15 durability left, we use Comfort Zone. You always kind of want to reapply Comfort Zone, not exactly when it falls off, but at certain points. Now, you get your Steady Hand 2 activated, and you use 1 hasty touch. Now, if you get Tricks of the Trade here, by all means, use it. It's perfect time to use it. With different classes, you'll have different... We have maybe 1-2 skills that are different, or that you have extra. Like Culinarian will have Reclaim, and it won't be a cross-class skill because that's the class it comes with. So, with Goldsmith, I have Innovation, since it's not a cross-class skill for me. Now, right here, you go to Master's Men 2 to get your durability back. And you continue with your hasty touches here. I only have 35 CP, but that's alright, it builds up over time. Here I would use Tricks of the Trade. Normally, it would depend on the CP I have. Oh. Okay. Like that, I would still use Tricks of the Trade. Apply Steady Hand 2. I actually messed up a move there. But you want to keep going. Right when your Steady Hand 2s fall off, you want to reapply it at this point. Now, I use 1 more hasty touch to get the 15 durability. This is where you would get your end of your high quality percentage. Now, with a Goldsmith though, since I have Innovation already, I would just use, if I have enough CP, which I do, I would use Great Strides, then Innovation. But this will only work if I have 3 Steady Hand 2s left. And if I have enough CP, and I don't have enough Steady Hand 2s, I'll just reapply it just because I can waste the CP. Now, so you would go Great Strides, Innovation, and then you would go Birgit's Blessing. Now, if your Tricks of the Trade procs, you can sacrifice that, and your Birgit's Brow will proc as well. Because when you Tricks of the Trade proc on what a good, excellent, or whatever those are, you can activate the Birgit's Brow, Precise Touch, or Tricks of the Trade. If my Birgit's Brow procs, I will use Birgit's Brow only because it will give me a high amount of HQ percentage. Since I don't have it, I will continue to use Birgit's Blessing. Also, if you hit 10 to 11 inner quiet stacks, you should be fine with your high quality percentage. It'll likely be 100%, 90 to 100%. It all depends. But 11 is like the max. You can keep going past. You can't go past 11 stacks, but you can keep going as far as building up your high quality. But with that though, you know, like I said, it all depends on what the CP is for you to use certain skills. Like me, like I'm gonna finish this off with a careful synthesis too. And there you go. Now this is just 3 stars. Now the 2 stars and 1 stars, I will get into those later. The 2 stars they're actually the same. They're the same, it's the same process and the same rotation. Like I said, the CP you have, you get to use certain skills. You gotta use your judgment on that though. You gotta think, oh, am I gonna have enough CP to use this skill? Am I gonna have enough CP to finish the rotation if I use precise touch on the tricks of the trait proc? So it's all up to you. Now, the amount of CP you should be good with this rotation is probably about 425, 430. And normally, if I meet the stat requirements to craft 3 stars, I would just use what are these? However you say these, the bouillabaisse, I think it's French or something. But normally I would use these just to build up my CP. Now, the amount of CP you have left over, once you use Master's Men 2, you should have 18 CP left. If you have 18 CP left, your rotation is good. As long as you don't mess up any of your moves, which you can at that point after you use Master's Men 2. But if you get tricks of the trade, then yes, by all means proc it. You want those procs at that last step, just so you can maximize what the high quality will be. If I have 10 stacks of Inner Quiet, and I have, let's say, and I have 18, 56, oh whatever, something like that. I can't get into numbers right now, but I will do a detailed version of this and let you guys know. It's kind of hard for me to talk when I'm not actually crafting, but I will get into it in another video. But for now, I hope this rotation will help you guys craft 3 stars. Until then, goodbye from Fatal Flaw. Thank you for watching.